Hey, this is Huntington's disease Todd, and today I'm going to be talking about Huntington's disease symptoms. Is this my new normal? I was watching, or I was reading on a support group the other day, the Huntington's disease support group, a gentleman that was talking about, the reality has totally shifted for him as a caregiver since this disease came up. Explaining it to others, sharing it, just dealing with it in life has become so difficult for him. So I wanted to take a minute today. I'm going to talk about basically when you find out you have HD, everything changes. It really does. Damned if you do, damned if you don't. And our reality totally changes. So from that standpoint, I'm going to read what he had posted because I really thought it was a very good explanation of how things go, for someone with Huntington's disease. Again, if you're not on a support group or in that kind of thing with Huntington's, suggest you get into one. On the Facebook especially, there's a lot of groups that you can join and that where you can talk about it. So he says, I want to talk a minute about me as a carer. He says, because I think I realized something today. When I talk to people about what's going on with my Liz, some people now look at me like, what the hell is wrong with you? I think that since I'm actually in this expletive, my reality has adjusted with it. I think that what you have been would have been horrific to talk about before has become just real talk for me now. So when someone asks how she is, I try to explain, and I talk very matter-of-factly in plain terms, like it's normal. And I see the shocked or saddened faces. I think I've subconsciously adjusted to the new normal and will continue to do so as it progresses. It is desensitizing or a coping mechanism, maybe, or maybe both. I even found myself trying to lightheartedly try to downplay things with a bit of humor, which seems to be horrifying and backfires spectacularly. I'm finding that relating to her condition to others is getting harder. And for us that have Huntington's, it's way harder to relate our feelings to you. Translating from HD world to real world is getting harder. I don't want sympathy or anything like that, but trying to talk about it to others on a real level is getting harder. Am I making sense? Question mark. Straddling the two worlds is harder than I thought. I know I used to be, I know I used the word harder a lot today, but this expletive is hard. But I am so glad to be here for her. That's the sentiment of everyone, I think, that has Huntington's. We're in the muck of it, but we're also trying to be supportive of our loved one. And also, me as a person that has it, I'm trying to do my best, to be a good person, good citizen, all that. But reality of it is, I don't have a whole lot of control over that. So, as I said before, sometimes relating to another disease such as cancer or something like that, at least sometimes there's a cure for those things and you can have hope and look forward to a way out of it. With Huntington's disease, as of yet, there's not, a great way to get beyond the craziness of this disease. And it only progresses to the point where our caregiver and the person that has it, it becomes more of a struggle through every day. So Huntington's disease symptoms, is this my new normal? And I would also say when you find out you have it, everything changes. Everything changes. The moment your mind has to start coping with it as a person that has it, it changes because you know that everything from here on is going to be, on the downhill slide. When your spouse is with you and you find these things out, it makes it equally tough for both of you because she wants. When I went to the doctor and found out, it broke Wendy up. Not so much that she was sad that I had Huntington's, but she was sad that she knew the reality of where this whole thing ends up and how it goes and what you have to go through. She had seen my grandfather. She saw my mother. Well, I don't know. She didn't see my grandfather that much. But through it all, this thing has really, really changed the course of our life and our lifestyle. And early on, I even tried to share it with a few people. I mostly shared it with men that I knew, men that I hang out with, and not one of them ever gave me any kind of real support of anything. They're human beings and they're just doing their thing in life. But not one of them ever said, hey man, I'm here for you. Let's go talk about it. I'll look into it. I'll find out what it's about. Huntington's disease is so different than another disease, and most people don't know what it is. So what ends up happening is they just say, well, I didn't want to bother you. I'll leave you alone. I'll wait till, what are you waiting? What are we going to wait for? If you don't talk to me, or if we haven't done things now, if we haven't related to each other through our life relationships, I don't know. I don't know how supportive I would have been to certain people, if I found out about their diseases either. Right now, I'm not going to be supportive about anything to other people because my brain won't allow that. Huntington's disease takes away any of that kind of concern or whatever you want to call it. So for me, it's different. Now, you guys, you still have your feelings, the spouses, the loved ones, the friends, the family. You guys are still pretty much, the same. And no matter how old you get, you're still going to be the same as far as your mind goes, except you get older and you start slipping and you start losing things. Darley, my dad, turned 90, and he's actually just recently in the last few years started having trouble with his mind, with his memory, with his stamina, all those things that come along with old age. But I started getting all those troubles in my mid-50s. And again, I can say that, but you can't relate to it. And my spouse can relate to it because she's seen it and she knows what I'm talking about. So as a caregiver, that she is, that's how it is. So that's how that is. And damned if you do and damned if you don't. So what I was saying is, you tell people about it and literally you get just this kind of, a deer in the headlights, if you will, kind of thing. I even have family members that I try to say, hey, here's where I'm at. Here's what's going on. And it still just seems to get shrugged off. I mean, I can say, look, this year could be a pivotal year. Things are getting harder for me. Now, maybe they feel sentiment toward it, and maybe they are feeling, some kind of emotional part of that, but they're not sharing it with me. I'm trying to share more now just because I know that it's going to become harder for me to share more, and as time goes on. So, damned if you do, damned if you don't. And when trying to explain it to others, oh my goodness, it's just not possible. And then, so what do you end up doing? Staying home, being recluse, not going anywhere. I remember my brother Tony, unfortunately, as he got into the latter days of his disease, I didn't go see him as much as I should have, and I didn't spend as much time with him. But on those final days, and when I did spend time with him, I could see that their whole life had become just Tony and Teresa living in their home, and hardly anybody even really trying to understand it. Now, they had close family member, daughters and kids. That was different. But I'm talking about the outside world, what happens when they find out you have something, I don't know, at least Huntington's disease, maybe other diseases too, is their first reaction is just to shut you out or to say, well, I'll get to it another day. And I'm not holding anybody, responsible for any of that. I'm just talking about the reality. And I'm talking about the reality of this disease and what it ends up doing to us, what it ends up doing to people that have it. And then finally, our total reality changes. For me and Wendy, the day we found out, when I was 52, was the day our whole reality changed because we knew what was coming. Also, in my brain, I just didn't know how to cope with it, the fact that I had it. I thought back then, I didn't even think I really had it. My symptoms were, I didn't really have symptoms then. So, as that happened, I almost automatically became more recluse because, again, talking to others about it doesn't seem to be very profitable for me because I've told, some people that I had it. And of the some people that I told, I don't know, some people didn't even say, I'd pray for you, or, not one person has even tried to help me, to get into some kind of a group thing. Now, again, I probably wouldn't have been accepting of any offers that anyone would make. Also, if you find out in life that if you have something like this, you can offend people just by them wanting to be normal themselves, and you have this disease where you're not normal anymore. It's hard to be social when your social barometer is gone, and when you have so much struggle just figuring out, like I say, going out in the public, what are you going to do? How are you going to make somebody mad? How are you going to say things the wrong way? One time I got so mad at some people at the Ace hardware store because I had bought some twine that was supposed to go in my weed eater and it didn't fit. So I took it back almost immediately, maybe within a day or two. But for whatever reason, I couldn't find the receipt. And they gave me such a hard time about that receipt. I said, look, I bought it. The guy in the back gave it to me. He told me it would fit and it won't. And all I want to do is get another one that fits. And that's another thing. I was going to buy one that was in their store. I really showed myself on that. Finally, they gave me back and changed it without a receipt. And again, it's just kind of a funny story. But that started 5, 6, 7 years ago. So what happens to us if we have Huntington's? We don't want to go out in public. We don't want to show our butts. So what we end up doing is staying recluse and put away. So that is also for my spouse, for her, I don't know how many people she really talks to about the Huntington's disease, but I'm almost sure that all of them just probably give her the reassuring nod and you're okay and hopefully it'll get better, praying for you, those kinds of things. I don't discount any of that and I appreciate all of it. But early on, I wish I had just a few people step up and say, oh man, I read all about it. I found out what's going on. I dig where you're coming from. This disease sounds like it's going to be a challenge. If you ever want anything from me, let me know. People didn't do that for me. So our reality totally changes through this. The post from the gentleman on the Huntington's disease support group was so good and so vital. I thought I would share it today. Look, if you haven't gone on my page and subscribed, I wish you would. I wish you'd like this video. I also share it. I'm saying all these things too late. I think I'm going to make some cards that are going to give some better indicators of how to get this channel. Again, I want it to go to more people because I just want more people to see it. So this is actually episode 100. I was going to do this in May, but I can't wait that long because that's another week. Episode 100 in YouTube. So that's pretty cool. Especially with the fact that I took some time off. This Huntington's disease, Todd. I hope the hopeful thing of this too is, just as a final footnote, is if you get on some support groups, it can be very helpful. Even if you can't, have a one-on-one conversation with somebody. I go to Huntington's disease support group on YouTube. You can talk to people, you can get their opinions, you can post things. I mean, sometimes people do actually reach out to each other through direct conversations. But that's a place you can go and check that out. So this Huntington's disease, Todd, episode 100, and we're just going to keep on clicking. Have a great day.